Richter for sponsoring this last panel. Before we close for today, we have a very special presentation to make. And in order to make that presentation, j'aimerais inviter M. Daniel Fournier, chef de la direction chez Wener Cambridge, à se joindre à moi sur la scène. Daniel.
Bonjour tout le monde. J'ai l'honneur aujourd'hui de juste vous parler pendant quelques instants de Jonathan Wener. Et Jonathan n'était pas au courant, mais Jonathan aussi était mon premier patron il y a 36 ans. Et puis c'est rare qu'on ait une chance de parler de notre premier patron et sans qu'il puisse répondre. J'ai dit, je pourrais profiter de cette instance. Mais si je peux me permettre juste 30 secondes d'être un peu de philosophie, quand je parle à mes propres enfants, j'en ai 4, je parle quelques secondes de c'est quoi réussir sa vie. Et il me semble, ma définition de réussir sa vie, c'est qu'on laisse des traces. Et ça fait maintenant 40 ans, depuis cette année, depuis Canderel existe. Mais qu'est-ce que j'aimerais vous dire aujourd'hui, c'est que Jonathan a laissé des traces, pas juste au niveau de Canderel, au niveau personnel et au niveau de qu'est-ce qu'il a fait pour la communauté. Et je vais juste vous expliquer pour 30 secondes. Premièrement, Jonathan, tu es un bâtisseur, tu es un leader, tu es un entrepreneur. Et si je me souviens bien, il y a une chose qui n'a jamais changé avec toi. Tu ne laissais jamais les gens dire trop facilement que c'est impossible. Tu disais toujours, trouve la façon. Bien, il me semble que Canderel, 40 ans plus tard, ils disent encore, trouve la façon, et il réussit très souvent. Jonathan aussi, comme personne, n'a jamais changé. Toujours terre à terre, toujours lui-même, jamais arrogant et toujours prêt à donner. JW, you're a builder, you're a leader, and when I think back from Cantley House, where you're sitting there with 2 or 3 people 40 years ago, 50 million square feet, $9 billion later, you're still the same person. We're always proud, as Montréalais and Québécois, when a company starts with an idea in Montreal and ends up being a very successful national company. You've done that. We never talk about it in that sense, but you've done it. When I think of your participation with people like us in the industry, you're a mentor, you're a coach, you're giving time to everybody, but most important, you're a driver and you're a doer. It's not talk, you get things done. So 40 years later, just think on the personal side. Cancer hit the Wener family. Did Jonathan just sit back? He didn't sit back. Defeat Canderel motivated a whole community. I can't tell you the number of hours that I've heard of what Jonathan Wener did in every conceivable post at Concordia University. And I can tell you he was more than a little proud and often said to me that the biggest gift of the Jewish community in Montreal, to Montreal, was the Jewish General Hospital, in which he also had every conceivable post. They don't give Order of Canadas by mistake or by chance. No one has deserved more of that honor than Jonathan. So he's a passionate guy. Il fait toutes ces choses avec énormément de créativité. Et cependant, il rend ça le fun pour nous tous. Alors moi, j'ai vécu cette expérience. Et puis la seule chose que j'espère que vous pouvez vous joindre à moi et souhaiter une longue vie à Canderel, mais aussi de féliciter Jonathan lui-même. On a tous une petite présentation qu'on aimerait donner à Jonathan, mais est-ce que vous pouvez juste vous lever et applaudir Jonathan pour
On a demandé aux amis de Jonathan de lui signer ce cadre. Ça s'est fait au cours de la dernière semaine et les gens qui ont travaillé de façon étroite avec Jonathan tout au long de sa carrière ont accepté de signer ce document qui est un gage de leur appréciation pour qui il est comme personne et également pour souligner sa carrière. Également, ce que je voulais vous mentionner, c'est que le Forum immobilier de Montréal en fait annonce aujourd'hui que nous faisons un don de 2 000 $ au défi Canderel pour l'œuvre à laquelle en fond merci.
You know, there's not many times in my life that I'm speechless, but I think this is one of them. Merci infiniment tout le monde. C'est très spécial pour moi de serai ici aujourd'hui et d'avoir des remarques de Daniel et Bernard. Merci George. Now I know why George called me 6 times to make sure I was going to show up. I was getting a little suspicious. He said, John, I know you always get on a trip and you ask Daniel to speak on your behalf. You need to show up. And I said, why, George? He said, please, just show up. So I thank you all. This has been a fabulous run. It's been a very special 40 years. It's only half over. I'm going to live up to that demography and get to 100. It doesn't happen without a team, and I'm very grateful. One of the things I did learn at Concordia, and for those who heard me speak from time to time, there was a production professor who said to me, machines depreciate, people appreciate, invest in people. And while I have invested in real estate all of my life, the thing I've done the best at is investing in our team and the people who are still with us, many of them for more than 30 years. You know, I have great pride in all the graduates from Canderel. It feels like a bit of a university from time to time, and when I see people like Daniel Fournier rising to the top of the Caisse des Dépôts, who was with us, Michael Latimer, who was with us and is on top of Omer's, and many others, it gives me great pleasure to see their success and to know that we had some role in it. You know, this is a beautiful industry, and I've had nothing but passion for it. I've had the wonderful support of my team at Canderel, my wife and my family, that makes it fun to go to work every day. It's not work. As a matter of fact, one of my daughters said, Dad, when are you going to retire? And I said, I did 20 years ago, I'm just having fun. There is something that I reflected on as we were sitting at the panel, and it was a period ago. We started UDI in 1987. Myself, Cameron Charlebois, and Paul Massicott started UDI, and about 4 years later I became president of UDI Canada. I was very upset by an article that was run in the Gazette that maligned the development industry, and they refused to revoke what they had said, and so the industry pulled all their advertising, and then they wanted to have a discussion, and it was too late. I hired a consultant on behalf of the industry nationally to find out how we could do more to give back to the communities that we live in. And that was obvious. The report cost $25,000, and I thought that the consultant had a lot of nerve. He turned back a 6-page report. And the concept of the report was, you, the development community, you represent change. People don't like the process of change, they like the results of change. And by way of example, he said that when the Eiffel Tower was first built in Paris, it was a much hated structure. But were you to come back and demolish it, you would be hated for demolishing it. And so he said, you are the agents of change. What you need to do is do it in the most elegant way possible. But don't expect to be loved for the efforts that you're making. Expect to be loved for what you execute. And execute is what we do, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great industry. We do it all together with great passion, heart, and love of the industry and of our cities and our communities. And I know that many of you here today give back in a very, very meaningful way. I've seen it from all levels, whether it's entrepreneurs, the pension funds, the REITs. We all do this with passion and a great deal of caring. And I say, never change in that regard. Thank you for this honor. I'm deeply appreciative, and thank you so much for what you're doing for the Défi this year. We're well on our way to another successful year. Bless you all. Merci infiniment.